Hey up and welcome to another Restrap how-to. Today we're looking at our switch rack. Shortly we'll run through all the features, how to fit it, etc. But first of all we just wanted to give a little bit of background as to how we've designed it and what it's designed for. So let's have a little look at the background of the rack. One of the things that we really wanted to do while designing it was maintain all of our design ethos that we have with our bags. So we wanted it to be lightweight, we wanted it to be robust, and we wanted it to fit as many bikes as it possibly could do. And for that reason, we've gone for a through-axle mounted rack, and we've tried to use something that we've called engineered simplicity. So basically, it is as simple as we can possibly make it, it's as light as we can possibly make it, but equally, it's robust enough that you can use it on long trips and not worry about it breaking. So this is a through-axle mounted rack, and all that essentially means is it ships with an axle here, which is designed to replace the one that is already on your bike. There's some subtleties around choosing the right one, and we'll run through that in a little bit.
So this is the rack as it comes in the packaging, and the first thing that we need to do is remove the axle, and to do that we'll just need a 4mm Allen key, and we're just going to remove the bolts at either end, loosen that off, remove the bolt from one side, just being careful not to lose the washer, and simply do the same on the other side.
We can pop the axle out. So on this particular frame I don't need the conical washer, the frame is not designed to use one, so we'll remove that. And it's 142mm spacing, which means that we're going to need all of the supplied spaces, so I will just leave those in place. So the next step is I'm just going to locate the rack over each of the end pieces of the axle, and you can see it kind of sits there anyway. We take the bolts and locate that in there, and it's a 4mm Allen key, and just snug that up, and we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So the first thing to double check is just making sure that this top bar is sitting nice and central over the tyre, and in this case it absolutely is. If it wasn't, then adjust the number of spaces on this side. For the most part it's probably likely that you'll get it about right, but it's super easy to just repeat this process. And then you can see we've got this rubberized strap here. Bring the clamp to the seat post, and you can see there's a bit of play there, and just align that. And in an ideal world we'd like this to be pretty much horizontal with the ground, and you can adjust that as required until it is. And then make sure that this rubberized strap is securely wrapped around the seat post as we feed the Velcro through, and make sure that's all really snugly attached around and securely fitted. Final thing to do is just make sure that this is snugged up nice and tight. You may need a second Allen key there because it's a captive nut. On smaller bikes, a lot of the time what you might find is you're better off with the top bar flipped. The quickest way to do that is flip this bar over, spin it round, and then this is the orientation that it's going to fit to the bike now. Just so we've got the Restrap logo on the right side, is unthread the strap, it'll look like that. Thread the large part of the Velcro through, and then we're good to attach as before. So we've got lots of 64mm mounting points all over the bike. We've got 2 on the top, which are for mounting our cage, and then we've got 4 down each leg, which can be used for mounting anything you like really, from bottle cages to our carry cage to our switch accessories, or equally any other product that fits that spacing. So the rack is manufactured out of aluminium. We've actually tested it to loads of up to 30 kilos. I don't think you would want to use 30 kilos on your bike because it would feel pretty horrible to ride, but you've got the reassurance there that it'll definitely be able to cope with any weight that you would have in a normal touring setup. So the weight of the rack is 395 grams if you don't include the through axle and the bolts, or if you are including those then it's 485 grams. A nice way to think about it is that you're probably adding around about 400 grams of weight to the bike, because obviously you're taking out your through axle as well when you're replacing it with ours. So the rack is designed to be compatible with pretty much any bolt-through frame cycle. One thing that it must be is a hardtail. It's not currently compatible with full suspension bikes, but if you've got 142mm spacing, which is what most gravel and road bikes have now got, or if you've got 148mm boost, which is what most mountain bikes now use, then the same axle will actually fit all of those. One thing that it's not compatible currently with is Super Boost, which is a much wider axle that generally only found on downhill bikes or some fat bikes. But yeah, as I say, if your bike is a through axle, then it's probably going to fit okay. So the first step when you're buying your rack is deciding which through axle you'll need. All racks ship with a single axle, but it is also obviously possible to buy separate ones. So if you've got different bikes and you want to swap the rack between them, then you're able to do that without having to buy an entire new rack. But first thing to work out is something called thread pitch, and it's one of those things that most people will not know what their bike is. I certainly didn't until I was researching to fit a rack. First thing that you'll need to do is take out the axle from your current bike, and what we want to know is essentially it's not the total length, it is the spacing of the threads on the bit that screws into the frame. And there are three sizes. It will either be 1mm, 1.5mm or 1.75mm. Now, as ours does here, then most actually will tell you what the thread pitch is on it. It will either say 1, 1.5 or 1.75. If that's the case, then you're golden. That's all you need to know. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to measure for yourself. The best way to do that is if you take a ruler and place the axle up against it and count out 10 of these little threads along here. And if you do that and it measures 1 centimetre, then you know you've got 1mm thread pitch. 1.5 centimetres, then you know it's 1.5, and equally 1.75 centimetres, then you know that you've got 1.75 thread pitch, and it is that simple. One thing to do is absolutely not fit the wrong thread pitch into your frame, because you will definitely damage it. If you're in any doubt at all about what thread pitch you need, then please get in contact with the manufacturer of the frame and they'll be able to tell you. So if your bike frame has got a UDH, universal derailleur hanger, then actually what you will need is a slightly separate part that is an adapter essentially that fits onto that. We've got a separate video about how to fit that and we'll link it in the bottom. And if your frame has got a SRAM transmission, T-type rear mech, then again, there are a couple of separate adapters there available. We've got a second video which talks you through how to identify which one you need and also how to fit it. So that's the rack fitted, ready for you to fit the accessories of your choice. If you've got any other questions, need any more technical advice, then check on our website or look at our other YouTube videos.